Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Artist Works live dispatch from home. We're really happy to have you back here. This is a very special evening, at least it is for me. I've been really looking forward to this because we didn't have an event last week, but this one is really very special because the focus of our conversation and the focus of all of the music is going to be about a new CD that is being released. It's Eric Marienthal playing with Randy Brucker, and George Whitty produced it. And we've also got Dave Weckl and John Patitucci featured in that wonderful release called Double Dealin'. But tonight we've got Eric Marienthal and George Whitty with us. And so it's going to be a lot of talk about music and how do you produce something in the middle of a pandemic. And these guys have succeeded at it. And so we're going to start to pretty much every other event with some music for you. And tonight it's going to be just a little bit of a quiz for those of you who are watching us at home. And they're going to start playing a tune here, but they're not going to tell you what it is. And so the whole idea here is for you to get into the comment section and tell us what you think it is. So I am very happy now to bring you both Eric Marienthal and George Whitty.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Sitting here in Twin Peaks, California. I just moved into this studio that I built in my new house yesterday. So if there's a little bit of technical glitches, don't mind me. And I also have to say that my hand is conformed into like the G.I. Joe pistol grip after 4 months of running a drill and a jigsaw and so forth and so on. So forgive me if the playing is a little lumpy too.
Is that like
okay.
It looks like a chalkboard behind you. Is that you're a true teacher, man?
What's that?
It looks like a chalkboard behind you.
It's actually an acoustic absorber.
Or whatever.
Soak up some bass frequencies. But if you'd like, I could scroll a couple lessons on there for us.
Well, let's hear your music and see if our folks can guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that was more obscure than mine, man. It's like...
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what tune that was. It was great, but why don't you play some of the melody now so we can all figure out what you're playing? It was great. This is, um, yeah,
Okay, I haven't got it
it's a
right now.
Charlie Parker tune.
No.
No.
But it was written by a saxophone player.
Saint Thomas.
Wow.
Is that correct?
Yes, that is
Aaron
correct.
Santee. Aaron Santee. What does Aaron Santee win?
He
I don't know. We'll think of
wins
something.
Our heartfelt congratulations.
A heartfelt
an
congratulations.
Artist
to
Works beer cozy. I shouldn't promise things that we're not
we
ready
don't
to
have one.
deliver. So.
We have a coffee mug. Actually, that's not true. We have a shot glass, wine glasses, and a coffee mug.
Wow.
And Andy Panda thought he's the one that came up with it. So that was it. Thank you guys for starting us off on such an interesting kickoff this morning or this evening. That was really great. And for those of you who don't know what we're doing here and who we are, I'm Patricia Butler. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Artist Works, and I'm joined here by Eric Marienthal, who teaches jazz saxophone at Artist Works, and George Whitty, who teaches jazz piano, and they're part of the Artist Works online faculty, and we teach music online, as you can probably guess. But learning up with us is a little bit different in that these guys have come into our studio and recorded, I'm going to say, pretty much everything they know, or they at least started to record a lot of what they know. And the students are able to send them a video and they respond with the video. And that's called a video exchange. And everybody in the class gets to see it. So it's an interesting and valuable way to learn. So here they are. And tonight we're going to be talking about this new CD, which is really very cool. How did this whole thing get started? Because I think this is a pretty early or first collaboration, Eric, between you and Randy Brecker. But what's the genesis of this project, Double Dealin'?
Well, actually, it was almost exactly 2 years ago. I was playing. I actually put together a tribute concert at the Berks Jazz Festival in Reading, Pennsylvania, for our dear friend who passed away at that time, Chuck Lowe. Mm-hmm. And so I put this big tribute concert together. We had probably 50 or 60 musicians. It was really one of the most amazing things I'd ever been part of. And so all the different groups that Chuck had been, part of, frankly, or no, I was going to say either, had something to do with Chuck, but they were all people who knew Chuck, played with Chuck, and had an extensive history with him. And so one of the groups that I played with was Metro, a band of Chuck's with Wolfgang Hafner on drums, and Will Lee played bass, Mitch Foreman played piano and keyboards, and Randy Brecker. And so, and we had done a lot. Randy and I played quite a bit with that group and Jeff Lorber's band, so we had quite a history also, among other things, the GRP big band and things. Mm-hmm. And so after the concert, my manager, Steve Chapman, came up to me and said, you and Randy really clicked. That was fun. You guys should do a record together. And my immediate response was that, who wouldn't want to do a record with Randy Brecker? I mean, and my secondary response was that, I mean, everybody wants to do a record with Randy Brecker. Why would he necessarily want to do one with me? And I know his schedule and things. And anyway, thought about it for a couple of days, and I thought, what the heck? And I called him, and he said, yeah, man, let's do it. And, so collectively, we thought, very quickly about who could help us produce, basically. And it took us about a nanosecond to think
long
of
time then.
Yeah, real long time. And George Whitty's name came up, and nobody else. And yeah, I mean, George and I are going to talk about the process of the record and how it was put together. But let me make sure I don't forget to mention the fact that if it hadn't been for George, this record definitely would not have come together. George's name, I feel guilty that George's name isn't as big on the front cover as Randy's and mine, because he's as much of this record as Randy and I are. So you hear George's unbelievable musicianship on every second of this record. So thank you, man. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Aw, and you guys, both teach at Artist Works, but you've known each other before Artist Works, right? Had you ever met before Artist Works?
It was more like, from my point of view, it was more like a remote mutual admiration society, or not, maybe not even a mutual admiration society, but I've always loved Eric's playing. I remember going up to the bar at the Baked Potato when an electric band cut was playing. It was something that I wasn't familiar with. It was a live thing, and I had to walk up there and say, "Who is this on? What is this? Is this?" And it was Eric just completely tearing it up on the alto on that thing. And over the years, we've kind of played festivals together at different points. I remember we played something in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And it rained unbelievably that day. Just the hardest rain I've seen in years.
Right. You were with the Brucker brothers.
That's right. Yeah. And the Turks were just completely undeterred by that. Like, it was an outdoor thing. And we were covered, and they were out there in the open, and they were dancing and partying and just grooving. It was really a great gig. But I hadn't worked with Eric. We probably did that sort of weird send in your DNA on a hard drive thing on various projects throughout the years, but we hadn't actually been in a room together working.
Right. Yeah.
Well, how did you do this in the middle of a pandemic? Let me ask you this first, though. Did the collaboration and creation start before the pandemic, or did you do all of this? It did, but you had to finish it during this time. Tell us about that.
Yeah, a large part of the recording was done in January, February this year. So it was early on for sure. And then when we were really in it was, not only did George produce this record, but he mixed it and mastered it. So a lot of the work was done in by the time March came around, we had finished the recording and we were into the mix process. So it was all very virtual at that point.
Yeah. And we did most of the writing, Eric and I co-wrote a lot of the record, and we did that throughout last year, basically. I would go down to his place, and we'd set up and kind of write a tune. Randy's tunes were kind of from his catalog, and Randy's wife Ada wrote a beautiful tune for this thing also.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so really the writing thing was somewhat collaborative and somewhat existing pieces. And then the playing was mostly just people doing it on their own, at home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then is there some trading back and forth of files, or?
Oh boy, is there.
So how do you do that? What's the best way to get the files in the like, can you do it lossless? Can you pass them and not lose any fidelity?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You can. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry if it's a novice question.
Yeah, no, we can. Yeah, I mean, that's like George was saying, the DNA line. I mean, that's how, especially now. I mean, I'm in George is in his studio. I just moved in yesterday. I have this room built. Our house is on the other side of our backyard, which is a ways away over there. And so I'm in a structure now that we built about 7 or 8 years ago on the other corner of our property. And it's, file sharing has been, and recording at home and having somebody say, hey, can you play on my record? And you agree to, all the whatever. And then they send you the record, you import it into your session and you record, you take your file and send it back to them. And so that kind of file sharing has been going on for a while. And thank goodness, because now, since this all hit, everybody's recording at home. There's very few things. I did a session. I did a Carrie Underwood record last month at one of the biggest studios in Hollywood, and East West on Sunset, and there were a total of 4 of us. And the protocol that went into that, with the temperature reading and the things we had to sign and things, but we were about 20 feet away from each other. The 4 of us in the skate, a studio built for 50 people easily, and so it was incredibly safe. But it was just the 4 of us happened to be other horn players that I work with all the time, in studios, and the fact that we hadn't seen each other in months was just horrible. It was crazy. But anyway, recording this way, it's interesting because when you make a record this way, it really is. It's like painting, painting a picture where you have this canvas and you kind of add to it, not piece by piece, where it's not that, generic or stark. It's still very musical and creative and in a way quite spontaneous, because there's still a lot of improvising going on. But doing it this way, where you're not playing all at the same time, gives you a chance to really get into what you're improvising over. In my process is that I will listen to a track that George puts together, and I'll listen to it over and over just to get the vibe, get the feel. And then one thing that David Sanborn taught me, he's a friend of mine, I'm very proud to say, and we talked about this process, what he does, and he says, he'll never take a lick and then play another lick and then play another lick and put it all together. He'll make sure that he might edit some things, but he'll play his entire solo from beginning to end and not stop. Just play it as if you're playing live. Play it like you're on stage, because you don't want to interrupt. What you play has a lot to do with the next thing you play and the next thing you play. So it's linear, and it's a linear thought process. So in that sense, it is still creative in a live sense.
Yeah, well, it's a technical question, but I wonder, how do you play saxophone with a mask on?
Easily. Watch. I did last night.
I knew you were going to do that.
It's not very loud, but
that's perfect. I love that. That's great. Oh, you should leave that on. I was going to take a picture of it.
Oh man, here we go.
This is great. This is how to make music in a pandemic. Oh my Lord. All right. This is derailed a little wee bit, but that's okay. I just wanted to take a moment, because we've got some folks, we always have them sign in a little bit from wherever they are. And we've got some folks from interesting places. And so I thought I would just put that up on the screen if we could for just a moment, and then maybe take a question or two. Is that all right with you guys?
Sure.
We've got Tony Yee, who is of Eric's from Honolulu. And then we've got Cy Schmidt. I think Cy has joined us before. He's a sax player from Salt Lake City.
Right on.
And Benoit from
of
Maui.
course. Right on.
Do you know him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
From the school.
Oh, okay. And from Tijuana is Gonzalo, and it was nice of him to
right on, man.
With us. Yeah. And Indre, I think I have that right, but he says he's from she is from Lithuania.
Right. Yeah.
Which is very cool. Right. Very cool. We got a couple of students here as well, and Roger Pace.
Okay. Yo, Roger.
Roger, I used to live in Germantown, Tennessee.
Really?
David's from Memphis, and we lived in Germantown for a year.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I can't even think of where we lived. It was a tough year.
Roger just sent me a video. Yo, Roger, how's it going, man? He sent me a video saying, I didn't realize that, he just moved there from Dallas, near Dallas, I guess. And he said, I didn't realize that it could be, what did he say, 96% humidity out and not raining.
Oh, yeah. The humidity is horrible in Germantown. And when we had first moved there were, I think they call them straight winds or something like that. Oh, the trees were blown everywhere. But David's family was from there, so we went there to be with near family, but yeah.
So,
It was in Germantown. It was Aintree Farms. It just came to me. Anyway, that's so unimportant and not musical at all. And here's a person from Irvington and one from Gettysburg. So it's so nice that you guys tell us where you're from, and I really appreciate that. This is John Herden from Minnesota.
Morris, Minnesota. Wow, that was a long time ago. Wow,
was
cool.
a while ago for you.
Yeah, it's like a 3.5 hour drive from Minneapolis, right? And yeah, it's one of the universities of University of Minnesota Morris. Yeah,
okay,
beautiful campus.
Just a couple more here. There's Gregory Payton, who's joining us from the Quad Cities, and also then we have Tommy Sachs from Glendale, and he's a student of Eric's as well on Artist Works. Okay. And I just wanted to have a couple folks up here. I just wanted you to see them. Let them say hello to you. Okay. So I'm just curious a little bit about, what tunes, how did you pick the tunes that are on the CD? And, do they have specific meaning to you? You'd mentioned Chuck earlier. I wondered, is there anything that we should know about the CD that might have been an homage or a tribute to Chuck or involved him in any way or his memory?
Georgie?
Well, to me, we had kind of a thing with this record where the label was interested in making sort of a radio-friendly, kind of accessible CD. And, we also wanted to put as much kind of burning tracks on there as we could. And to me, Chuck Loeb was really sort of peerless at being able to fuse those two things, to make, music that was catchy, tune that you could whistle after the first time that you heard it. But the textures were always great, the groove was always great, but there was a lot of meat on the bone. So musicians dug it, people listening on the radio in the car dug it. So when you get a gig like this, to me, the standard that you try to live up to is Chuck Loeb. And I knew that Eric had been working with Chuck for many years. I had worked with Chuck a little bit on various projects, sometimes him contributing his thing from home and me contributing my thing from home. We did some stuff on a Will Lee record. But, and Chuck was just universally acknowledged to be a truly great guy.
Yeah.
So I kind of was poking around with some ideas for songs for this record, and I came up with just the first little bit of this tune, kind of a gospel influenced thing in 3/4, and brought it down to Eric because we had a writing session scheduled for the next couple days. And we took it from there, and it kind of, after we got about 8 bars of it, it occurred to us that this would be a cool piece to sort of dedicate to Chuck.
Oh, nice.
And sort of take it in that direction. So that's kind of my take on how the tune that we called Song for Chuck during its entire development, how that came about. And Randy, of course, had a very long history with Chuck, decades. And he played beautifully on this thing too. So,
well, and Eric, you were extremely close with Chuck.
I sure was. Yeah,
I know that's a big loss for you.
Yeah, he was a very, very close, very, very dear friend. I was sitting right in this chair when he told me that he was sick, and we spent way too much time on the road together. Different projects. He produced. We did a duet record basically, Bridges, before this record, about 4 years ago, and then the record before that, Heap of Mine, he produced, and we played in a bunch of different groups together, and sat on way too many airplanes across from each other. So.
Well, would you guys like to play another tune from the album, or would you just like to play some music? I'm sure folks would love to hear you play, and we do have a couple of questions about the production and just a few other questions too, but I'd love to hear some music if you're in the mood. Not that that's my request in the mood. I'm just saying, if you're in the mood.
Why don't we play a little bit of song for Chuck, which is, we ended up,
Okay.
the hardest part of making these records actually is naming the tunes. And at the end of the whole process, the name that we came up with for this song that we dedicated to Chuck was Mind the Fire. So we'll play a little bit of that.
No.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'm all ears. I'm ready. I'm ready.
You want to set it up, George?
Sure.
Okay.
Got a little tangle on my cord there, so. Okay, I'm having an issue here.
Yeah, I'm hearing a little static there.
I'm just going to reboot my program here so that we don't.
So, Eric, how's it going? You're looking great.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Somebody did have or they were going to say something here. Let's put that comment up there. Hey, Eric, I met you in Park City. Can you see that, Eric?
Yeah. We played big bands here with Joe Shaw and Bill Toll, really. Passed away recently, yeah. So Lemoyne Taylor from Disney. Oh, right. So, but do we play in a side? Do we play in a big band? You got to write that, because Joe, I played with Bill Toll, ran different bands. I played in the Ram football team, the Ram band.
Ram band.
Joe Shaw was a drummer in the Disneyland band when I worked in Disneyland many years ago, and Lemoyne was in that band too. So,
well, we'll see. We'll see. Cy is very active, so he'll be.
You play in big bands. Oh, you play in big bands. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You play in big bands with Joe. Oh, right on. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Now, is the penny dropping?
Unfortunately, I knew that Bill had passed, but please say hi to Joe. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And then here's Eric Leck, Eric Leck. Got Eric on the brain. Roger Leck is saying hello from Singapore. So
right on.
Yeah, it's nice. A lot of your students are here too.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really very cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Hello.
George, how you doing?
Let me see if I'm.
Marcelo.
That sounds good, George.
Okay, I think we're ready to go.
Are we? Okay, so I'll step out and let you guys, take it over from here. Tell us whatever you're going to do.
We're going to play Mind the Fire from our forthcoming CD, Double Dealin'.
Okay. That was great. What a soft sotto voce to end on.
I don't know what's going on, but
well, the cat ate your cable. Maybe I don't.
The storm kind of came in at that point. And
that was really, really beautiful, though. I really enjoyed that music. What a lovely tribute to Chuck too, who was such a Zen-like person. When we knew him anyway, he had such a wonderful attitude. Thank you for that beautiful tribute. That was really
we didn't. It was funny because like George said, we didn't. We got together to write, and we had some preconceptions on certain days of our writing that we were going to go for this kind of groove or this kind of thing, or we had something. But I remember on that day, we really kind of didn't, and we certainly didn't intend. We didn't say, okay, we're going to write something in tribute to Chuck.
Yeah.
We just started sort of playing, right, George, and that kind of came out. And
it's one of those things where it sort of just it sounds cliche, but like it wrote itself a little bit. One phrase sort of really leads to another. And I think Eric and I both have a similar sensibility about how a melody should develop. So, he was sitting there with the saxophone, I'm sitting there with the piano. We would throw ideas back and forth, and either it would be like, yeah, that's cool, let's put that in, or, I'm not so crazy about that, or, there's a thing that you played that if we went this place with it instead, or this place with it, we could make it kind of complete the phrase, really. And in a tune like this, we wanted to sort of capture a feeling of longing, and also sort of an epic feeling, that we're sort of sending Chuck on his way with this tune. And so on the album, we can't quite do it here because we're just playing one at a time, but it really builds in a nice way, and we put in a modulation that took it another degree higher toward the end. So we're quite pleased, though, with the way it turned out. It's
very soulful, very, very soulful, George, and I love hearing the end product because it's always very touching. I loved always hearing foreplay music, and this one it resonates with me. I think it's beautiful. But there's also sort of the technology end of all of this that you do, George. And I know that we do have some of your students here, not only on piano, but on saxophone. But there's also this, all this technology that you use that they might be interested in learning about. We were talking about that earlier when we were doing the sound check, that you have all kinds of I don't know, you showed me about 20 lines on a computer program. I don't know how you do it.
A lot more than 20 on there.
Okay. All right. Well, 20 would intimidate me. But did you want to share any of that for some of the folks that maybe do some of their own writing? Because we do have a question from Roger Pace. He wanted to know if you lay down the rhythm tracks first, and how do you put the parts together? So maybe there's some interest in the crowd to just sort of see what it is that you've been working with.
Well, let's take a look at one of the tracks.
All right.
We're going to do something here. I'm going to try to share my screen. Yeah, we had that working earlier today. And we're going to hope that whatever is bedeviling my processor...
Got a little gremlin there. Got a little gremlin there.
Knocks it off.
While you're doing that, George, I'll just say we put a little scroll on here for those of you who are thinking about coming to Artist Works. When we do these live events, we just offer a 25% discount for those folks who are watching. And so you can just use Home 25, and you're welcome to join us at ArtistWorks for any of the schools, but Eric and George would warmly welcome anyone that's interested in learning with them. Any luck, George? I'm sorry, Eric, please go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I concur with whatever you just said. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys are masters, but I know that you enthusiastically teach players of all levels, and I'm really humbled by that, because you all have the right to say I'm only working with the most advanced players, but you don't do that. And I appreciate you being interested and willing to teach the world music, and that means everybody. So that's a good thing. And you got a lot of students here singing your praises, so that's a good thing. George, did the cat let go of that cable?
I think I found the culprit.
Okay.
Microsoft Excel.
Throw it out. Oh.
Yeah, I opened something in it. And it's Bill Gates.
It's his fault. Let's blame him. He's not in the room.
Yes, he's attempting to give me a virus by having me open things in his shabby program. Okay, it's booting up here.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
We could throw somebody under the bus here. Let's see. No, let's not do that. Well, Phil Judd had a beautiful compliment for you, and I thought we would put that up there. I've seen him before. I don't know if Phil maybe has been here to these live dispatches from home, but he's somebody's student. I've seen that name. I feel sure.
Definitely my student from Australia. Hey, Phil, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's so nice.
Fun a lot.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure. Well, you probably see people from really all over. And let's see. There was one other person here. Oh, Marcelo.
Of course. Yeah, Marcelo from Brazil. Obrigado, Marcelo.
Wow, what was that? That's pretty impressive, Eric. Do you speak any other languages?
I can say thank you in a whole bunch of languages. Yeah.
Okay, how about I'm lost?
Yeah. Where can I find a beer? I can say that.
Or where's the sound man?
Yeah.
More sax in the monitor.
Yeah. When's lobby call?
Yeah, you got to learn how to say that one, right? Oh my heavens!
What do you mean? Lobby call is 4 a.m. I can say that.
Hey, you know what? We could talk about while George is working that out. Dave Weckl, what a great drummer, and he's on this CD too. And John Patitucci, right?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
that's really cool.
Artist Works bass instructor.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Not that I forgot that. It's just, yes, of course. He teaches jazz bass. He teaches both acoustic and electric. But you've worked with Dave quite a bit, right, Eric?
Well, John and Dave and I, along with Frank Cabali, play in Chick Corea's electric band. That band right there. Ironically.
I see it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Although John's not in that picture, ironically. Mr. Wooten was subbing on that tour. So, yeah, I mean, that band started, I started in the band in 1986. Wow. And the band started the year before that as a quartet and as a trio, even before that, actually, 1985. And so we have almost literally as adults grown up together. Our kids, know each other and grew up. We all started way before, all that. But yeah, I mean, not only are Dave and John, brothers of mine, but not only are everybody's favorite players to play on records, but are incredibly amenable. They played on a bunch of projects of mine and vice versa. And it really is one of the great honors and joys to be a musician, is that you get to share, in each other's worlds on a different level.
They're both so talented, but my father is a sax player, so I grew up hearing that all my life. And when I hear you play, I really do hear that very, sweet vibrato. And there's been a couple of other comments on that. Can you talk a little bit about how to develop that sound? Because it really is, there's so many squawking saxophone players out there, especially even up in the high register, but you don't do that. You play very sweetly up there in the high register. How do you work on that vibrato?
Yeah, I mean, Phil and Roger and Marcelo and all the other students who have, you guys have heard me say this a million times, but it's all about, just less is more. Just because you've got a salt shaker next to you doesn't mean you've got to dump all the salt into your soup. You just, a little bit goes a long way. So what we work in our lessons a lot of times is just, playing, just your sound. The inflection is one thing, but sound is what you're inflecting. And so if you add too much to it, it's just too much of a good thing, and it ends up becoming distracting. And at that point, it doesn't, we want to be emotional, but if you're emotional and you're trying to say something to somebody, if you yell at them or you do this, all the communication, that communication comes across as, all you're hearing is the inflection in your voice and the aggravation or whatever it is. You're not hearing the intention. So you can't mask the intention of what you're trying to say musically by saying it in a way that's distracting, so.
Right.
Yeah. So
do you practice your vibrato with a metronome? Do you do when you were beginning, I mean, way back when you were a mere mortal, did you ever practice your vibrato to the beat?
I never really did, Patricia. I should ask you that question. You studied with master. People don't know that you're a master flute player yourself. And you studied with Mr. Baker, Dr. Baker.
Mr. He probably had an honorary doctor. Yeah, I think he did. Right. I should say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was something we were taught. But that's classical music too, where when you're first learning to kind of control the vibrato, when sometimes you want it faster and smoother, you just made sure you were doing it well to a metronome, so you could slow it way down or speed it up, and still it would be an even, waver of sound. I just wondered, it sounds to me like you have practiced it that way because it is so controlled. It's so very controlled. That's why.
Yeah, it's a matter of controlling it, but it, like everything else, it really is just a matter of paying attention to what you're doing. I mean, so much, I've learned so much from having my school, because it's made me think about a lot of the things that I forgot about, years ago. I've been playing for over a half a century, so I there's a ton of things that are basic, but not really. They may be basic concepts, but there's such important parts of our playing, and part of it, for no matter what you're playing, is just listen to yourself, and never sound anything different than how you want to sound. Don't let the mechanics and the process get in the way of your music and the end result. So you become an instantly better player just with that, just understanding that one sentence.
And sometimes even just recording yourself, even if you don't, shame on you, have a teacher to submit a video to, just recording yourself helps you hear the difference between your sound and the professionals. Do we have George back yet? Hey George, how's it going?
Well,
how do you work on your vibrato?
I have two different ways of doing a vibrato. I can either wiggle the pitch wheel or the pitch lever, or I could hit the modulation wheel. So, and I practice each for hours a day.
Blow on that keyboard really hard. That works too sometimes.
I am hoping that,
look at that
this is now working, and
this
I'm
is
hoping
the big reveal.
Whatever the issue is with my processor, we're going to hope that the gods are with us. Can you see this?
Wow, I can. I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Okay, well, this is Logic. I've been working in Logic since it was Creator 1.3 on the Atari in like 1988.
The Atari?
Something like that. Yeah, an Atari ST had 0.5 megabyte of RAM. And now we have, 32 gigabytes of RAM. So this is how we do this.
Wow.
At this point, everything is... all my demo stuff is replaced. Here's Dave's drums down here. These are all audio files. If we look at them, you can see what they are. And Dave, of course, nobody gets a better drum recording at home than Dave. So there's those things. These are my demo drums here. I do really detailed demos when I'm, working on producing a tune or fleshing out the arrangement. But those are muted, and we've got Dave on there instead. Here's a little bit of percussion that I did. And here we get into the real deal with this. This is my demo horns. It's just a synth horn patch that kind of goes splat. It's something that I got from Ricky Peterson, the great keyboard player with David Sanborn's band. It's a preset on a JV-80, and Ricky just goes splat, and it sounds like, the JB horns or something. So we kind of worked up the arrangement on that sound, and then all of this stuff here. This is John Patitucci's electric bass.
Where's that at the top? That's at the top? Oh, I see.
No, that's it, just down there. And this is all the tracks that Eric did for this thing. It looks like they're probably double tracked. Let's play a little bit and see if it plays. And then we come to. I'm going to take it out of solo here so we can hear what this tune sounds like.
Whoa. Wow, that's amazing.
Here's the bass solo, and here comes some cool stuff in the horn section, and then I gotta find.
You find the berry part.
Yeah, I want to solo the berry part.
It's a little loud. It's coming off hot.
Okay, I'll turn it down here. How's that?
Yeah, thank you. That's better. Nice.
Where is the berry part, though?
I hear it.
There it is. Okay, so check out part of the thing when I do horn section charts. I love to do horn section parts, but when I put them in, I'm playing it almost like a clavinet. So the berry part, which is my left hand, comes out to be this very weird kind of kinetic stuff that's really cool in the track, but it's not very practical to play on a baritone saxophone.
Really?
Back me up on this, Eric. To say nothing of the fact that my synthesizer baritone sax has about an octave's worth of notes that are way off the bottom of the horn of a real one. So, I sent these parts to Eric, and he was like, man,
not enough keys.
So I sent him a picture of a contrabass saxophone, which is this thing you play standing on a step ladder. No, a step ladder. It's like, what, 12 feet high or something?
Oh my God.
But Eric was too cheap to rent it. So we had to modify the parts. So here's the berry part soloed. All those weird octave leaps, I think, are damn hard to play on a baritone saxophone. And of course, the gold standard for playing stuff like that is Stephen Doc Kupka from Tower of Power. But Eric did a great job with this. I kind of basically got the accidentals corrected in these parts, sent him off with a wing and a prayer, and just like, well, let's see what comes back. And it's really cool. Like if we listen to the whole horn section in here, let's go back to that section.
Okay.
And we got couple tracks of Randy double tracked, and then sort of just mixed and matched.
That's great.
I mean, that's really a strange part on the baritone.
It is, yeah.
And yet it's right in the pocket. It's beautiful, and it really is almost like if you were playing a clavinet.
Yeah.
Well, there's one tune called "You Ga" that Randy wrote that George found, and you think that's kind contrapuntal or disjointed or whatever, the berry part compared to the rest of the horns. On that tune, it's like watching an organ player, and you know how they kind of kicking the left hand and kicking the bass a little bit just to get like a percussive thing going on. It's all over that song. And I called George, and I number one, I said, you know, so
he was in tears. actually in tears. Like he didn't say no enunciation for the first.
What are you doing to me? I mean, I should dig out the parts, but you know, at first I thought, well, this is kind of borderline unplayable, you know. And I didn't.
Let me see if I can get that to load up here. Things have been loading very slowly, but let's try to load it.
Yeah, I mean, but then I realized, you know, I mean, it's all George's writing, you know, arranging for the horns, and at first I thought, well, I've got to, you know, kind of shave this down a little bit because it's just, you know. And then I started playing. I did actually. I don't even know if you know that, George, but I kind of just did I took out some things that just seemed like kind of pseudo impossible, and I did a few bars of what you actually wrote, and then it clicked on me. I said, oh, no, this isn't like a, you know, it's not a, you know, it's not a glitch. You actually intended these notes. It's a reason for these notes to have been written. And I thought, oh man, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And it, you know, I remember that one tune took a little time, but it was so worth it because you listen to it now and it's just like this, you know, every time you listen to it, there's a new, like, oh, you know, it's subtle, but it, you know, really, you know, you know, you're a genius. What can I say?
That's enough.
I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to hear it. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm with great anticipation because you guys have been talking about it, and you pulled it together during a pandemic. And I love the fact that there's 3 ArtistWorks artists on it. And I hope that maybe we can do something with more artists at ArtistWorks and create some kind of CD. I don't know. We talked about that a little bit at Soundcheck today. I want to do an ArtistWorks, you know, music festival. You know, I want everybody here.
Totally down.
It's a big party, you know. And George, you can play with all the bluegrass guys. You said you want to do that. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
Especially ArtistWorks is based in Napa, California. So,
I know. Yeah.
You know, so it never takes a, you know, whenever you guys say, you know, can you like come up here and, you know, extend your curriculum, you know, you can come up to the studio and, you know, it's never a big arm twist to, you know, say, you know. Yeah.
No, because we do, you know, feed you and make you drink. Good things here, all good things here. But, you know, you guys can come into the studio. We're doing a little remodel right now because we need to be able to keep Marcus and Jordan away from the artists. So we're doing a little remodel so the artists can be in the studio and our sound man, Jordan, and Marcus, the director, can be safely behind glass and not have to interact too much. But, you know, nobody can really fly. But you guys can come up, get in the car. Come on up.
6 hours away on by car. Come on.
Yeah,
Great.
we'll do it. We'll do
be
it.
The test case.
Yeah. That would be fabulous. Yeah. So we're coming up on the hour here. I just would love to hear some more music, but it's up to you guys. What would you like to play? Because you are going to play something, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I finally got You Ga to boot up here. If you want to hear a little bit of this,
let's hear it. Yeah.
Craziness. Let me share the screen.
Then we'll hear some live stuff.
Yes, we will.
That sounds good.
Okay, share screen.
Yeah, this little StreamYard platform has been pretty good. I have to say, it's been pretty good.
Okay, so this tune, it's from the 70s, and it was, you know, there was a period there where the Brecker Brothers were looked at as maybe like a breakthrough crossover sort of pop funk band. And so they did this when they got a great singer on it. But it was a little bit more of a dance track, and you know, we were mining through looking for stuff that we could do, like to get an old Brecker Brothers tune on, and this is one that a little more obscure. And when I sent it to Eric, he was like, "I don't think that can be, you know, made into a thing that would fit this record." And so I said,
Eric said no.
Like that. And I said, "Well, you know, let me take a crack at it." So. program drums on this one. So that's the flavor of the tune. Where's the wackiest Barry stuff? Okay, so here's a sample of the... So the thing about this, to me, it's one thing if you're a piano player, if you watch like an organ player play or something like that, they kind of have a little interplay going between their left hand and their right hand, where the left hand is sort of anchoring the funky stuff that the right hand is playing. To play like this without that anchor is like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
You know, you got to kind of wait until exactly the right minute instead of playing like a flow between your hands. But this is some funky Barry playing, my friend.
That's great. Well, what do you guys want to play? You want to... Oh, somebody just said something very funny here. Phil. Sounds like Lisa Simpson. He's
Thank
right.
you.
I have to admit, I was thinking that myself, and I thought that is just a dumb thing to say. So, Phil, thank you for saying it for me.
I am Lisa Simpson coming up on an episode. So,
Are you really? Oh my gosh!
yeah.
Hey, Eric, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Is that you on the Monsters Inc. theme?
No.
No.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't think so. On alto?
Yeah. It's actually on
No.
soprano.
I don't think so. I played something on Cars. And a bunch of the new pick. I've got a big soprano solo actually on this new Pixar movie coming up called Soul. I'm not even sure.
We're gonna go watch that when it comes
cool.
out.
Yeah. You'll hear it. It's quite a long story, but at the very end of the session, double session, and this is all way before pandemic time, and there was literally 4 minutes to go on the session, and if you're and it was the hardest part of the whole day, and it was just me and bass and cello and French horn, and I had the solo part, and if you're the one that makes a mistake and you've got to and the whole session, there was like 40 people in the studio, and they were sitting there listening to us, waiting for us to finish so that the session could end and we could all go home. But if any of us made a mistake, we were coming up right up to the clock. And the way the union stuff works, if you got to go over, you're over, and you can't send anybody home. So it would have cost the studio a fortune, and I, it would have looked very bad. So a minute and a half into the queue, I'm staring at my music, going, I'm not thinking about how good I'm supposed to sound. I'm just thinking about, don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake. Don't make it.
You got to get it done. Get it done.
It's very super cool movie.
Oh my gosh. Well, so you guys want to play us something?
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
What do you want to do, George?
The Days of Wine and Roses.
You got it.
Which
Okay, but you got to play something.
Will return at some point.
Yes, no kidding, George. I know my dad's listening, so Eric, you got to play a lot of saxophone on this one, okay? For my dad.
He's having that one, right?
Yeah, he's feeling better today, so that's good.
Oh, good.
All right, Days of Wine and Roses, is that coming up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who starts?
Why
Just
don't
like
you start?
George started the last one. It's your turn, Eric. You
Okay.
gotta
Thank you.
1 second here. I don't know why this is doing this, but I do have a quick fix.
Beautiful. Much virtual applause. Thank you so much. What a beautiful arrangement too. Was that your arrangement, George?
That was just kind of Eric playing Eric at 5:32 on August 13th, 2020, and me playing my thing at 5:33.
All right. Yes. Well, you guys did a good job. You guys did a good job. Thank you so much. And
it'd be great if we could have collaborated on it. We played a little version of something. We did a clinic together at my son's high school up here and had some fun just kind of, spontaneously arranging. I think we played Stella by Starlight or something like that. That's a favorite. With the latency between the signals, we can't play together, which is too bad.
Hopefully we'll get there at some point in this lifetime. But I just want to take a moment before we end our event here to thank you both for helping ArtistWorks to teach the world music. You both do a phenomenal job. And Eric, I know that you just went over your 2000th video exchange, so congratulations on that. It's really quite an accomplishment. And for those of you who are watching, you'll see in the comments, in the chat, in the text, whatever you want to call it on the right, that ArtistWorks is also having a virtual jazz masterclass, and you can sign up for that now to be one of the students that gets coached on camera. If you like, just get some time with the artists. So please sign up for that. And as you can see, we're still, we have a promo code going also that you're welcome to take advantage of. But thank you both very much for being with us. I hope that this CD is a huge success because it is great music and I can't wait to hear the whole thing. But I always appreciate you sharing your music and your time with us. And I hope that you stay healthy and happy and safe at home for a little while longer, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Patricia, for having us and putting this on for us. And for keeping artists going and creating it and helping so many people. It's just been fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we love it, and I'm always happy to see the students coming in here and putting their comments, and it's always welcoming to me to see that they're having a good time and that they're learning a lot or they're coming back to learn from you. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for sharing your virtuosity and your teaching with everyone. It really means a lot to me, and I thank you, and I look forward to doing another one of these with you. And for those of you who are watching, we'll be back 1 week from tonight with Daryl Langer, and he won't tell me who he's bringing. So he said, I'm going to be surprised. So I don't know what it's going to, what or who it's going to be. But next week at 4:30, join me here to have a live dispatch from home with Daryl Langer. Eric Marienthal, George Whitty, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Be safe. Be well.